Hello, welcome to the 30k channel. I'm David.
And I'm Boris.
Yes, and we are back for some Zone Mortalis. 1,000 points, Iron Hands versus 1,000 Suns.
The wizards have come to play.
Oh, yes. Now, we are in a Iron Hands facility. The board build, I love this board build. I don't know if you'll like it, but I love it. I split it into 4 parts.
Yeah, it's a kind of non-conventional Zone Mortalis. Very cool.
Very cool indeed. And in each section, there is a different scene. So we've got a generator, a purifier thing, whatever you want to call it. I'm not quite sure. You've got a warehouse, and then we've got a vehicle storage yard. And one of my biggest gripes on the internet is that people play Zone Mortalis, but they have like 5 foot wide corridors, and they don't play kind of Zone Mortalis as intended.
Yeah, it's meant to be claustrophobic.
Yeah. And so you could argue, follow your own rules, this isn't very claustrophobic. But what I've done is I've double heighted this central kind of companionway, and it feels really horrid in there.
It does. I'm not looking forward to facing down some immortals down those central corridors.
No. And so I've tried to just tighten it up to get that feeling. And also we've put a ton of terrain into each one. And I think it works, if I'm honest with you. But who knows?
I think it looks really cool.
It looks cool. So the 1,000 Suns have invaded this facility, and we've got these little Adeptus Titanicus, I've dropped it, water purifier thingy cum generator thingies, and we've pinned them onto the side of the wall with a bit of blue tack, and they're rad scrubbers.
Yeah, the facility gives off so much sort of nasty byproduct that they put in this system to purify it and keep the machinery and the people running. And the 1,000 Suns sneakily kind of come in and try and knock them out to take this facility offline. It basically translates to we're playing the Sabotage Assault mission.
Yes.
Roll D3 plus 2, roll a 1, I believe, as the defender. And so we've got 3 objectives that can be taken out. Their armor value for 11 can be taken out shooting or melee. And basically it's a VP for destroying them for the attackers, and a VP for you if they're alive at the end of the game.
Yes. There's also First Blood and Warlord. And these are mounted high up in the air, as they would be. Health and safety, you don't want them too far, get people's fingers in there. So they're mounted high up, but we're saying to destroy them in close combat, you've just got to be below it.
Just into the base contact below it, and then you can swing up and tap it.
Fire a gun into the guts of the mechanism.
Absolutely.
And she'll explode. So the Iron Hands are on the warehouse quarter. You've gone in the vehicle yard?
Yeah, I decided I won, or didn't win. I rolled over 4 up so I could have deployed in any of the quarters. Decided I wanted to be as far away as possible from that Contemptor and the Immortals until I get some of the better units on from reserve. So just so we can dance around each other for a bit, not straight into the horrible melee.
That's right. And we have divided our force into 2. They're off in reserve, and then they'll be brought on as the game continues. It's going to be a tight game. I think rushing to defend those objectives is going to be really tough. The Iron Hands are very, very thin on the ground with 4 units, but HQ is attached to a troop choice, so 3 units available. You've got 1 more unit than us, 2 more units.
I think 6 with the HQs, so 5 overall with them once the HQ's attached. I've got 2 more to bring on, basically.
Yeah. So we're going to be spread thin. So we're hoping that the resilience of the inviolate armor and the boarding shields will hold off the 1,000 Suns threat. But your psychic powers, what do you got?
We've got a quite broad one. We've got some biomancy on the Sekhmet. So some nice sort of maybe Relentless or Eternal Warrior Sekhmet if they come off.
Nice.
The Delegatus is Divination, so we might be able to give themselves some re-rolls.
Okay.
But they're all in one pot and they're not on the board yet. So
We'll see.
bad rolls, they might not come until turn 4, and we have a psychic powerless 1,000 Suns army. We do for the start with.
Fingers crossed. Less editing for me to do for the first couple of turns, which we like. I'm going first, but you want to seize. Yeah,
you won the roll off, so you deployed first. But it would be fun to see if we can seize and get in to attack the objectives. That's a 5, 1 off.
Oh, yes. All right, well, we'll go into the list and we'll go straight into Iron Hands turn 1.
Warlord for the 1,000 Suns is a Delegatus consult. He's been upgraded to have Tartarus Terminator armor, a single level of Psychic Mastery, Arcane Litanies, a Combi Bolter, and has upgraded his Power Axe into a Force Axe. His Cult Arcana is Corvidai. He draws his powers from Divination. He knows the Primaris power Prescience and rolled Precognition as his secondary power. First of 2 Elite's choices is a Contemptor Mortis Dreadnought. He's been upgraded to have 2 Carries Assault Cannons and extra armor. Second Elite's choice is a Sekhmet Terminator Squad. The Sergeant has been given a Combi Melter and a Force Sword. 3 are armed with Combi Bolters and Lightning Claws, and 1 has been upgraded to have a Combi Bolter and a Chain Fist. They are in Tartarus Terminator armor, and their Cult Arcana is Pavoni or Biomancy. They are Mastery Level 2 Psychers. They know the Primaris Smite and have rolled for Hemorrhage and Endurance as their other 2 powers. First of 2 troops choices is a 10-man tactical squad. The Sergeant has been upgraded to have Melter Bombs, and the entire squad has been given additional close combat weapons. They draw their powers from Divination and can reroll 1s if standing still to shoot. The second troop's choice is a tactical support squad. The entire squad is equipped with rotor cannons, and these have been upgraded to have Asphyx shells. Their Cult Arcana is Divination. Lastly, a single heavy support choice is a Castellax Akia. It is equipped with a Mauler Pattern bolt cannon and 2 power claws.
Autek Moore leads this defence on their facility. He's equipped with Califracti Terminator armour, a servo arm, Cortex controller, Paragon blade, and a Volkite charger. Elites is a Contemptor Dreadnought, equipped with extra armour, a Chain Fist, a Melter Gun in the Chain Fist, and an Assault Cannon. The 2 troops choices are identical, and that's 2 11-man squads of Iron Hands Immortals. There are 2 Melter Guns in the squad. Everyone else is armed with a Volkite charger, and the Sergeant is equipped with a Melter Bomb. Iron Hands turn 1 movement. Not a lot going on. The Immortals there with Autek Moore have pushed up 6 inches to try and get into the centre of that battlefield there in the middle of the corridors, staring down those rotor cannons. And then finally, the Iron Hands Contemptor has moved out of the contained area into the corridor and will make a push into the other room with the refinery to protect that rad scrubber. There is no shooting and there is no running, and we'll go on to Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns turn 1 movement. The Mortis has moved out into the corridor, positioning himself next to the door to move through it next turn, but will possibly put some shots down on the enemy Contemptor. The Tactical Squad opened the door, but didn't edge out, as the fearsome fusillade of Volkite will probably come down at us next turn, and the Rotor Cannon Squad has sat still, ready to bring their guns to bear.
Thousand Suns turn 1 shooting, and we're going to start with the tactical support squad with the rotor cannons. We are hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s thanks to the Cult Corvidai Divination, meaning we reroll 1s if we stand still when shooting. So 20 shots from 5 rotor cannons, hitting on 3s. Let's pick out the 2s. 4 2s and only 3 1s. That's unfortunate, but oh well. 2 more hits, that's great. We have strength 3. However, Inviolate Armour means we're effectively shooting toughness 5, so 6s to wound, but we did buy the Asphyx shells upgrade, so we have Shred. So 6s. Oh, okay, that's not bad.
It's good.
3, 4, 5, 6 to start.
Jeez.
And then all of these get to re-roll. Picking up 1 more, so that is 7 wounding hits.
Alright, 3 up armour save. Fail 2, and then feel no pain, 5 up for Immortals. Oh, look at that.
Next to fire, we have the Contemptor Mortis. Is going to open up both carries into the enemy Contemptor. 12 shots hitting on 2s. That's not too bad. Drop 2. So 10 hits, and we need 6s. We are side armor, so 6s to glance. That is only 1, however, that is automatically a penetrating hit because it's strength 12 plus d3, so plus 2, so it's 15. So penetrating hit.
Alright, we need a 5 up shield save. Come on. Oh, negative.
Gets through, penetrating hit. A 1, so just shaken. End of turn 1 for Thousand Suns, not too bad. Chipped a whole point off the enemy Contemptor, which is great news. We almost killed some Immortals. Those Feel No Pains are great. And the Tactical Squad is getting ready to push through into the quadrant containing one of the objectives next turn. We don't want to be caught out in the corridor if we ran out or moved out. So we're just hunkering down, and we're going to weather another turn of Immortals.
Iron Hand's turn 2 movement. The Immortals that were in reserve came on. The Warlord trait from the Thousand Suns, Divide to Conquer, it didn't matter as we rolled a 5 on our reserve roll, which is brilliant news. Altek Moore and his unit have burst forward from around that corner, taking the central corridor, and have brought 2 melter guns into range of that Contemptor Dreadnought. And then finally, the Iron Hand's Contemptor has moved 6 inches into that refinery there, and is making its way over to protect the air scrubber, which is on the other side of that wall. Iron Hand's turn 2 shooting. The first action was for this Immortal squad to run forward. Due to their void hardened armour, they're -1 in their run move, and they advanced forward 4 inches. The only shooting from the phase are the 2 melter guns into the Thousand Suns Contemptor. We require 3s to hit. Oh, yes! It starts.
Turn 2000 Suns started with our reserves. The Sekhmet and the Delegatus Warlord both came in as a squad. The Castellax didn't, so we'll be able to get him later in the game. The Mortis moved through that door, lucky to escape the melters from the Immortals, and he's going to look at firing all his guns into that objective. Over the other side, the tactical squad have made their move, rushing across the corridor as the Immortals are distracted, and they're going to look at possibly getting their nose round the corner and charging the other objective in that quadrant. Finally, the rotor cannons sat still to continue their fusillade. Turn 2 Psychic phase for the Thousand Suns. Started with the Sekhmet. They cast Hemorrhage from the Biomancy onto the unit of Immortals. Didn't exceed the Warp Charge casting, so we don't get to pick the target. It's simply the closest. It's successfully cast on 2 dice, however. So the closest Immortal has to pass 2 toughness checks or take a wound.
All right, 4 or under. And we pass.
Lovely. Next, the Delegatus tried a power. He tried to cast Precognition from the Divination on 2 dice, but failed both. Thousand Suns turn 2 shooting phase. I'm going to start with the Sekhmet. I'm going to open up with their combi bolters into the Immortal squad, see if we can peel one off. We have 4 combi bolter shots, none in rapid fire range from the Sekhmet. Twin linked. Wow, 3 ones, so luckily we're twin linked. Okay, that's better. 4 hits. We have 1 combi bolter from Delegatus hitting on 2s. 1, so twin linked. Another 1, excellent. And 1 combi weapon, so this isn't twin linked from the Sergeant, that is a hit. So 5 hits, 5s to wound with Inviolate Armour, but we do get Shred from Asphyx Shells on the combi bolters. That's quite good. That's 3 wounds overall.
All right, 3 up armour save. Feel no pain, 5 up. Come on. No, and 1 Immortal falls.
Next up in the shooting phase, the Mortis is going to open both carries into that objective Rad Scrubber. 12 shots hitting on 2s. Ooh, that's not great. 4 misses.
Ooh.
Then we need 5s and 6s to glance and pen. We only need a single 1. So only 1 glance, 1 pen. It doesn't matter whatsoever because we can't do anything. However, against shooting, the objectives do have a 4-up invuln.
All right, we need these. We were silly to let this go unchecked. So here we go. Oh, yes.
Last up, we have the Rotor Cannon squad. They're going to continue their shots into the Central Immortal squad, see if we can do any more damage. 3s to hit. Rerolling those 1s. So that is 4 to reroll and 5 2s that we can't reroll. So reroll the 1s. Helps us a little bit. 2 extra hits. We are then 6s to wound with Shred. Come on. Only 1 this time.
Whoa.
We get to reroll all of these.
2 more, I reckon.
Oh, only 1.
Oh,
that's
okay.
not great. Not doing as well this turn.
So 2 total.
2 total.
All right, 3 up armour. 5 up feel no pain. Oh, look at that.
Turn 2 assault phase. We're going to start with the tactical squad. They're going to try a 6-inch charge into the objective around the side. Rolling a double 2, that is a 4. They are stuck and might not be long for this world. End of turn 2 for Thousand Suns. Really not very good. Our shooting was okay, but failing that charge is really bad. We'll probably get charged for that Contemptor next turn and probably ripped to pieces. The Sekhmet and the Delegatus are on the table, which is a lot of psychic powers and a lot of nastiness potentially, which is great. But we have a lot of eggs in one basket. And finally, that Mortis not even glancing the objective was really disappointing. We'll have to try again next turn, but it's another turn he's out of the game.
Iron Hand's turn 3 movement. The Immortal Squad advanced forward 6 inches, going towards the centre of that board. We were really lucky last turn not to lose those 2 rad scrubbers, and due to a little bit of error on the Iron Hand's part, we left this one here completely undefended. So the decision here is, do we charge this Immortal Squad with Autek Maw into that Contemptor to stop them getting the rad scrubber in the next turn, but then we'll be countercharged by the Sekhmet Terminators? The answer to that question, I do not know. And then finally, again, we were really lucky not to lose the other air scrubber in that refinery room, and that Contemptor has moved in for the kill. Iron Hand's turn 3 shooting. We can start with the Contemptor. He's got 6 shots with his Carrier's Pattern Assault Cannon into those Thousand Suns. They have all hit, which is good. 2s to wounds, 6s rend. Look at that. We've got 4 wounds and 2 rends. Let's have a rend first.
The Wrens just kill the front Marines, so they're just dead. Okay, so the first 2 are dead, and then we'll take these 3 at a time before we get to the Sergeant. So 3 up armor saves, all passed, fantastic, and then 1 more, passed. Okay, so only 2 die.
Finally, a melter gun in the close combat arm hits, and it is just 2s to kill. Look at that. The decision has been made. The Immortals will fire into the Sekhmet. We're worried that if we charge the Contemptor, the Overwatch might kill the lead Iron Hands that can only see to charge, and if he dies then we can't charge, so that's going to be quite problematic. So we've got 2 melter guns into the Sekhmet. One's out of the dice tray, one's a miss. Oh god. Okay, we do get 1 hit. 2s to wound. That's a wound.
Okay, 5 up Tartarus Invuln. No, so that automatically doubles out the toughness and kills the Sekhmet.
Next to fire, there are 6 Volkite charges in range and require 3s to hit. We do get to reroll 1s due to the Thousand Suns being our hated foe. And we fail those 2, so that's not good. Alright, so that's 9 hits. Now require 3s to wound, being strength 5. We get to reroll 1s. That's pretty good. Wow, that is really good. We only dropped 1, so that's 8 wounds.
Okay, 8 wounds. That's pretty rough. We got 2 wounds on the lead Sekhmet, so we're doing 2 at a time until he dies. So he's already taken a wound. 3rd, he's fine. 4th, fine. 5th, fine. 6th, fine. 7th, fine. 8th.
Oh!
Okay, so he tanks all of them, but takes a wound. So that is 1 deflagrate.
3s to wound. Yes.
Okay, and he needs to make 1 more save. Passed. Okay, wonderful.
Final act to the shooting phase. The Immortal unit that arrived have ran on. They rolled a 6, but -1 due to their armour, and they have pushed right up to the centre of that board. Iron Hand's turn 3 assault phase. The Contemptor has a 3-inch charge to make with fleet, but we're okay. And we'll do a Hammer of Wrath, which wins on a 2, which it does.
3 up armor save. Passed.
Nicely done. The Contemptor weighs in with 4 attacks, requires 3s to hit. Oh, that is a shocker. And 2s to kill. I was expecting a couple of 1s, but that's good. 2 of those Marines are dead.
At initiative 1, the brave sergeant steps up. He has a single melter bomb. Let's see if we can do this. 4s to hit. Oh, that's a hit. That's fantastic. Okay, strength 8 armor bane, 5 on 2 dice. That's a 10, so that's 18 to go through. So you're Invuln in combat.
6 up. Come on. Oh,
almost that heart and mouth moment. Okay, AP 1, so +2. Oh, out the dice tray. That is a 1. Unfortunate. So only stunned, shaken, sorry, but it is only on 1 whole point left. Thousand Suns lose combat by 1, dealt out 1 whole point and took 2 wounds. So we need an 8 or under to stay in. Ooh, 5. Lucky. Excellent.
End of turn 3 for the Iron Hands. Not a bad turn overall. Keeping those Thousand Suns in combat with that Contemptor is a really good result. We got a bit worried there when the dice came up on the armor penetration. Now we know we're going to get charged from this Thousand Suns unit. But, you know, that's just the way it happens. And then unfortunately we will lose out on that Rad Scrubber. But a bit of an error on Autek Maw's part there.
Thousand Suns turn 3 started with the Castellax, came in from reserves, which is great. Bit of a tough choice from where to bring him in. Both corridors were actually blocked by the road cannons and the Sekhmet, so he couldn't come in down one of the corridors. When he's bringing you in, maybe you can get some shots at the Immortals and then move up later in the game. The Sekhmet inevitably moved up. They're going to fire every weapon they have and then probably charge that Immortal squad. We need to push them back and make ground on the objectives. And finally, the Mortis was tempted to move out into the companionway and add his weight of fire, but we need to focus those objectives. So just moved around to shoot that objective, and if we don't kill it, then possibly charge. Turn 3 Psychic for the Thousand Suns. Again, pretty disappointing. Tried 4 dice on Endurance to give the Sekhmet a Feel No Pain and failed. No Perils of the Warp though, which is great. The Delegatus managed to cast Precognition on himself, which was fantastic, and wasn't denied by the Iron Hands even though they attempted. And finally, the Sekhmet tried to cast Force on a single dice and failed. Turn 3 shooting phase, and we're going to start with the Mortis. Is going to put its 2 carries into that objective again. Let's see if we can do it this time. 12 shots, hitting on 2s, 3 dropped, not bad but not great. And then we need 5s to glance, 6s to pen, but they're pretty much the same. Only 3 this time instead of 2. Bit better. Okay, so you may as well roll them all at once.
Yeah.
4 up in done.
3 4-ups. Come on. Oh.
Only just. So that's 24 Mortis Contemptor carry shots, and they finally bring down a single hull point. Next, shoot before the Sekhmet will fire the Castellaxes. You can only see 1 Immortal. Mauler pattern bolt cannon, so 3 shots hitting on 3s, all hit. That's fantastic. Strength 6 and Violet armor, so 3s to wound. That is 3 wounding hits. That's great. AP 3.
3 up. Oh, failed 2. Feel no pain though. Come on. Yep, he's definitely dead. The weapon does cause pinning. However, being fearless, thanks to Autotech More, the unit is not pinned and doesn't require a test.
Next up, the Sekhmet and the Delegatus will rapid fire all their guns into the Immortal squad. Might increase our charge distance, but we need to thin this squad out. So starting, we have 6 shots rapid firing with the combi bolters. 4 miss, but they are twin linked, thankfully. Okay, that's all hit. That's great. And then 2 hitting on 2s, thanks to the Delegatus. Those all hit. So that is 8 hits, 5 to wound with Shred.
Wow.
From the Asphyx shells.
Wow.
It's 4 wounds so far.
All right, 3 up armor saves. Ooh, failed 2. Feel no pain 5+. No, and that is 2 Immortals dead.
Last up, the Sergeant in the squad is going to fire the combi melter part of his combi weapon, so 3s to hit. That is a miss. Last up, the rotor cannons are going to continue their hard work. Plucky little rotor cannons with 20 shots hitting on 3s. Let's pick out the 2s. 4 2s, and we only have 2 1s, so we reroll those for the divination. Double 1 again, so no help. And then we are 6s to wound. 2 so far with Shred. Let's see if we can do a bit better. Oh, that's not bad. 3 more, so 5 wounds overall.
Tough decision to make. Autotech More is the first model, but he's going to tank them all like the boss that he is. Come on. Oh, 1 went out the dice tray. Oh, he does take 1. Not too bad.
Turn 3 assault phase for the Thousand Suns, and we debated about charging. We have to suffer an Overwatch charge, but we desperately need to gain ground. So we're going to push up and make this charge. We first however, have to suffer the Overwatch.
There's a reactionary fire test from the Immortals to make, 4 or under, which we fail. So they are snap shooting. So we've got 12 Volkite charger shots requiring 6s, but thankfully we get to reroll 1s to hit and to wound against our hated foe. Couple more would be nice. We get 1 more, we'll take that with 3s to wound, rerolling those 1s, thankfully. Yeah, we'll take that, 3 wounds.
There you go, preferred enemy doing some work. Okay, 2 at a time for the Sergeant. We take a wound, last one. Okay, so the front Sekhmet does take a wound.
Next we've got some Death Grate there, that also wounds.
1 more. Passed, thankfully.
And then finally, we've got an overwatching melter gun on a 6. Oh, you beauty. 2s to wound. Oh.
Okay, 5 up to keep the Sekhmet alive. Come on. No. Okay, so that 1 wounded Sekhmet does die. Really unfortunate, we lost a member of the squad there, and that means our 7-inch charge is now an 8, which isn't what we wanted, but let's see what we can do. Come on. A 10. Fantastic. Start of the combat, Autotech More issued a challenge and the Delegatus accepted. We'll see if we can keep him alive for a couple of rounds of combat. However, initiative 4, the Immortals, and 2 of the Sekhmet strike. Starting initiative 4, we have the Sergeant and a Lightning Claw Sekhmet striking in, only 2 attacks, no bonus for charging because of the breach shields. 2 attacks from the Sergeant, hitting on 4s, 1 hit, and 4s to wound. That is 1 wound at AP 3.
We'll try and turn this aside with our shield on a 5 up, which we fail, but Feel No Pain is a pass. Great stuff.
Lovely. And this Lightning Claw, 2 attacks, no hits. So that is no wounds whatsoever. Really unfortunate.
Next striker, 8 attacks from the Immortals and the Sergeant, requiring 4s to hit. We get to reroll though, due to being a hated foe, which is needed. Holy hell, that is unbelievable. They are really furious at those Thousand Suns. Strength 4, toughness 4, 4s to wound. Alright, due to preferred enemy, we get to reroll those 1s, which we get. Unbelievable. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 wounds against Sekhmet.
7 wounds, that's real tough. We'll start taking these on the Lightning Claw. Armed Sekhmet dies straight away. So we have 6 more wounds remaining. Lookout serves on a 4-up from the Sergeant. 4 pass, so that's good. So we'll roll these. That's 1. So the Chain Fist Armed Sekhmet takes 1 wound, and then the Sergeant has to take 2 wounds, both passed. So that is 2 wounds dealt out.
Next to strike is all take more in the challenge. He's got 3 attacks base and requires 3s to hit. Jesus Christ. That is only 1 hit, and he requires 2s to wound. 6 is an instant death, but he has prevent enemy, so we need to reroll this. Okay, that is a wound at AP 2.
Okay, so on to the 5-up Tartarus save. Fail. However, we have precognition, so we get to re-roll this. Passed.
Whoa,
that is very lucky.
Wow.
Down to initiative step 1. The Chain Fist Armed Sekhmet will strike in 2 attacks, hitting on 4s. 1 hit, and then we are 2s to wound. That is a wound.
5-up, shield, fail, and that will kill an immortal.
Finally, in the challenge at initiative 1, the Delegatus is going to strike out at Ortec Moore with his Force Axe. 4s to hit. That is 2 hits. We have precognition, which is reroll all hits. So that is 3 hits. That's fantastic. 4s to wound with strength 5, toughness 5 from Ortec Moore. However, precognition again. Reroll those failed wounds. No more, unfortunately. So that is 1 AP2 hit.
Alright, he's got a 4-up invulnerable thanks to his Cataphracti. Oh, that is a pass, and he's golden. Finally, initiative 1, Ortec Moore has a servo arm, requires a 3 to hit. That is a hit. It is strength 8 and requires a 2 to wound. That is a wound.
Oof. Okay, this is instant killing the Delegatus, but we have our 5-up invuln. Fail. Reroll for precognition. Come on.
Oh!
Yes. Okay, 6-up. He stays in the combat for 1 more round. End of the combat. The Thousand Suns do lose by 1. Really unfortunate. We are Legion 9 Delegatus, so 8 or under to stay in combat. That is a 7 just. That's fantastic news. Next up, we have the ongoing combat between the Tactical Squad and the Contemptor with a single hull point left. Really key here because we might be able to push through or the squad might get wiped. First up, initiative 4, we have the Contemptor.
3 attacks, hitting on 3s. Oh, wow, so it's only 1 and 2s to kill. Lovely. We do 1 Marine.
Striking initiative 1, the Sergeant is going to step up again with his Melter Bomb. We really need this. Come on, 4 up to hit. To 3, so no hit. That combat is over. We lose by 1, so 8 or under to stay. A 3, they're loving it. End of turn 3 for Thousand Suns. That was pretty bad for us. We killed 1 objective, which is great. So we've got 1 VP in the bag, and the Castellats came on, but those Sekhmet bounced off those Immortals, and we have a second squad barreling down towards us. Really not great. We're holding on by the skin of our teeth against the Contemptor, but we really need to kill it and then push through and see if we can take out the second objective. We have a single unit to play with, which is the Castellax, can move up and possibly do some damage. But other than that, we've got to weather the storm that the Iron Hands are going to throw at us.
Iron Hands turn 4 movement. The only movement was made by this Immortal squad, and they have rounded that corner. I will try a bit of a charge to help out that Contemptor because he's only got 1 hull point left and he feels a little bit vulnerable. Other than that, Ortec Moore and his squad are doing a great job tying up that squad in the middle. We've lost 1 objective, but we've still got 2 more intact. Iron Hands turn for assault phase. A charge was declared from the Immortals into the Marines in contact with the Contemptor. Unfortunately, a 3 was rolled, and that was a failed charge. So we'll go straight into combat between the Contemptor and the TAC Marines. The Dreadnought's got 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay, 2, that's better this time. Requiring 2s to kill. Oh, double 6. That is 2 Marines dead.
Initiative step 1, the Sergeant is going to step up once again. We've got 1 single Melter Bomb. Here we go. 6. There we go. That is a hit. Fantastic. Okay, 5 on 2 dice with Armor Bane. There's a 10 again, so that is easily a pen.
Okay, all right, this is it. 6 up. We need another 6. Oh, you beauty.
Amazingly, that combat's still going on, and the Tactical Squad lost by 2, so we need 7 or under to stay in combat. That is an 11. We are definitely running. Initiative off. We have the Tactical Squad get 3.
Contemptor 3.
They are caught and killed.
All right, the Contemptor will consolidate. A mighty 6. Holy. Next combat is between the 2 Warlords and the Immortals and the Sekhmet. We'll start off with the Immortals going into the Sekhmet. 7 attacks requiring 4s to hit. Rerolling 1 thanks to preferred enemy. Wow, look at that 6s. That is mental. People, you need to buy these dice. They're absolutely amazing. So 5 hits and 4s to wounds, rerolling 1s. Okay, we only get 2 there, so 2 wounds.
Okay, we'll take these on the chain fist. So one at a time. Passed and passed. Striking back at initiative 4, we have the Sergeant with his sword. 2 attacks. No hits.
Baltic Moore is next up in the challenge, and he will swing his power axe and has 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. Okay, that's not too bad. With 2s, rerolling 1s, but they're 2 AP2.
Okay, 5 up in Bun. Passed 1. Precognition is still active. No, so the Delegatus does take a wound. Striking initiative 1, we have the Sekhmet arm with a chain fist. 2 attacks. No hits. They are not liking it in this combat. And then we have the Delegatus in combat with Ortec Moore. 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. 2 hits. Precognition still active. So that is 3 hits. That's fantastic. And then we are wounding on 4s. 2 wounds. That's great. Precognition. 3 wounding hits. That is enough to kill him. So we're on to the 4-up Invan.
Baltic Moore needs to make these. We've got 2 saves before we go into the squad, so 4-ups. No, and that is a Warlord kill. Ortec Moore is dead. However, we do get a 5-up shield save as it spills out into the combat, which is failed, and I feel no pain. Wow, he is dead also. So there's Ortec Moore, and 1 Immortal is dead. As Ortec Moore falls to the ground, his servo arm strikes out and requires a 3 to hit. Oh, even that fails, but he has preferred enemy. Here we go, come on. Yes, that's 6 coming in. 2s to wound. Love it.
Okay, we need to make this 5-up to stay alive, or it might be a double Warlord kill. 5-up Tartarus, no.
It's close.
Precognition, come on.
Ooh!
No, I saw the 6, so there we go. The Delegatus loses his final wound and falls at the same time.
Unbelievably, we've got a double Warlord kill there. However, due to the positioning, the majority of the Iron Hands are in the enemy's deployment zone, which gives them stubborn, so we don't suffer the negative modifiers, and we require 9 or less. Look at that. In the turn 4 for the Iron Hands, this is shaping up to be an absolute wild, wild game. That double Warlord kill was fantastic. The Iron Hands are in a reasonable position. The Immortals there do have the centre of that ground, so we're going to prevent the Thousand Suns getting into other sectors of this battlefield. And then finally, this Contemptor is in the perfect spot to mow down those Thousand Suns.
Turn 4 for the Thousand Suns, and this is the turn we need to make our presence felt to be in with a chance of winning the game. The Mortis pushed through those doors, and we measured it up. I was going to fire into the back of that Immortal squad. However, we are just within range of our carries into the rear armour of that enemy Contemptor. We might be able to save the Rotor Cannon squad. The Rotor Cannon squad will then sit still, target the Immortal squad ahead of the Contemptor and see if they can do a wound. The Castellite just push through the vehicle depot and will continue its move. It will run later. And finally, the Sekhmet are just going to hope they can hold their best in that combat and just tie up the Immortals. Turn 4 Psychic Phase for the Thousand Suns. Frustrated with their lack of ability so far, the Sekhmet threw 5 dice at Endurance to cast it on themselves, keep themselves in the combat, and double 6. So we passed on 3 dice. However, we have a Perils of the Warp, so we need to roll on the chart. A 3 Power Drain. So the unit suffers a wound, and the Psychic Phase, both sides lose D3 warp charges. However, that's not really important. The Psychic Phase was already over. So we suffer a wound on the unit. Allocating that wound, as the whole unit is psychic, we randomly allocate it. So we've agreed 1 to 3 is the Chain Fist who's already taken a wound, and 4 to 6 is the Sergeant who's on full health. That is a 4. So the Sergeant takes a wound. So both are on 1 wound. However, they have got Endurance cast on them. Turn 4 Shooting Phase started with the Castellax. Try to run and roll a 1. Next up, we have the Rotor Cannons. They're going to try and ignore the Contemptor barreling towards them and fire at the Immortals just passing through the turn. So we have 20 shots hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. Let's pick out those 2s. Only 2 this time. That's pretty good. Rerolling 3 1s, 3 more hits. That's fantastic. Okay, so 18 hits, and now we're really winning on 6s thanks to Inviolate Armor. 1, 2, 3 6s, 4 6s, excuse me, so far. That's great. Shred, thanks to the Aphix shells. And that is 1, 2, 3 more. So that is 7 wounds.
Wow, that's huge. All right, we'll go for a 3-up armor first of all, which we've we only found one. 5-up, feel no pain. Oh, it's a 6. Man, these are hot today.
Lastly, after that bit of a disappointment, we have the Contemptor Mortis. He's going to put all 12 carry shots into the back of that Contemptor with a single hull point left. We have 12 shots hitting on 2s. That is 3 1s, not exactly what we wanted, but not too bad. And now we need 4s to glance, 5s to pen. Come on now. Wow. Oh no, not too bad. 3 pens and 1 glance. So it doesn't really matter which way around. It can't explode it, so you can take all 4 at once if you'd like.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so we need 5s to save future automatic shielding. Oh, it was not meant to be, and that Contemptor has been wrecked.
Turn 4 assault phase. We've got the Sekhmet fighting the Immortals to see if we can break this deadlock. Okay, initiative 4, the Sergeant, 2 attacks, both miss. He is possibly the worst Sergeant ever known in the Legion, but that's all right. So attacking back initiative 4, we have the Immortals.
7 attacks requiring 4s, and we get to reroll 1s thanks to preferred enemy. We'll take that. That'll do nicely. And with 4s to wound, rerolling 1s due to preferred enemy. Thankfully. Go on, that is 2 wounds.
All right, we'll take these on the Chain Fist one at a time. Passed, passed. Attacking back at initiative 1, the Chain Fist is going to strike in. 1 hit, that's all we need. 2s to wound, there we go.
Come on, 5-up shield. No, that does kill one of those Immortals.
So at this point, we might be able to sweep the Iron Hands. However, the Thousand Suns special rule, signs and portents. As we've lost our Delegatus, he was the only independent character. If the Thousand Suns ever lose all their independent characters, we suffer -1 leadership across the board and can no longer sweep in advance. So those Iron Hands Immortals are free to break.
So thankfully we escape that and we fall back 2d6, and that is a mighty 4-inch.
Finally, the Sekhmet Consolidate. 1 inch. End of turn 4 for Thousand Suns. Variable. Really great that we broke that unit of Immortals, and amazing that we killed that Contemptor. It really took some heat off us. However, those 2 Sekhmet with a single wound left each are now left in the open, and it is the Iron Hand's turn next. So we'll have to survive a Storm of Fire, and we're going to have to see if we can push towards either of those 2 remaining objectives.
Iron Hands turn 5, movement phase. This could potentially be the last turn of the game. The Immortals that fled last turn have rallied and just stand in front of that Contemptor. And then finally, the other Immortals have moved up and they need to take out this Sekhmet squad, as they're going to be a bit of an issue. They can't do very much about those rotor cannons, but the chances of them getting to that objective in the refiner room is quite slim. So we think we're okay. Iron Hands turn 5 shooting. We'll start with the squad that rallied this turn. They will snap shoot into the Sekhmet Terminators. There are 8 shots requiring 6s, and that is nothing. Next is the Immortal squad right in front of the Sekhmet. There is 11 members in the squad. 2 have melted guns. There is 18 shots from the Volkite Chargers requiring 3s, rerolling 1s thanks to preferred enemy. That is 4. Wow, that's a really good roll. Holy hell, we only got 1 from that. Unbelievable. Now with 3s to wound, rerolling 1s once again, thanks to preferred enemy. Dropped a few more this time, being 2s. 3s. Oh wow, that's mental, isn't it?
These will hit the Chain Fist first and then onto the Sergeant, so there's not really much point in rolling them separately. So 14 2-up saves. Oof. We fail 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
3 4-up, feel no pains. Or fail 1, pass 2, so 1 dies.
1 deflagrate to go, 3+. Oh no, that is fine. Last to shoot from that squad are 2 melter guns requiring 3s to hit. That is beautiful. 2s to wound. Rerolling that 1 for preferred enemy. Amazing. Look at that. 2 saves.
Okay, we have 2 5-up invulnerable saves from the Tartarus plate. Pass 1, fail 1. Now, would kill him. However, Endurance grants 4 Feel No Pain, Relentless, and Eternal Warrior. So we still get to Feel No Pain this. Single 4-up, can the Sergeant stay alive? Yes, on a 5. So he shrugs off that Melter hit.
Iron Hands turn 5, Assault phase. That Immortal Squad will have no option now but to charge that 1 wound Sekhmet Terminator. So Overwatch.
Okay, reaction fire check. All out the dice tray. That is a 4, so passed. He has a combi bolter, so 2 shots rapid firing. No twin link because he's already used the melter part. 1 hit, 5s to wound. Fail, but with shred for ace effects, also a fail. So no wounds.
And it's a 4-inch charge, easily on an 8. Thankfully, Immortals made it in. A challenge was issued and accepted. So the 2 sergeants will fight in close combat. And we start with 3 attacks from the Immortal Sergeant, requiring 4s to hit. Thanks to Hatred, they re-roll. Yeah, we'll take that 2 hits. And we are 4s to wound. And that is 1 wound.
All right, 2-up armor save. Fail. However, Endurance, so 4-up Feel No Pain. Or also fail. So that Sergeant is brought down by the Immortal Sergeant. Bit of an anticlimax. However, before he dies, he does get to strike back. 2 attacks, hitting on 4s. 2 hits, not bad. 4s to wound. Double 3, no wounds. So Sekhmet, after surviving all that, does get clobbered around the side of the head with a breaching shield and dies.
Holy hell. All right, and now we will consolidate a mighty 2 inches. End of turn 5 for the Iron Hands. Not a bad turn indeed. We've just got that Contemptor to deal with now, which we've got some Melter Bombs and some Melter Guns to try and deal with it. And those Rotor Cannons are not going to get within range of an objective. We do have that Castellax stalking through the vehicle yard there, but we think we're in a reasonable position. So we'll just see what the Thousand Suns can do in their next turn.
Thousand Suns turn 5, potentially last turn, and we are making a play for these objectives. The Rotor Cannon squad have moved off their firing position that they're going to run and see if they can push themselves around that corner to maybe charge the objective and throw crack grenades at it. The Castellax, with no Psychers left on the board or within 24, can no longer do several things. One of them's run or make sweeps or charges, so he just moved forward 6, and that is it for this turn, unfortunately. Finally, however, the Mortis didn't take the bait and went through the second door and brought itself to bear against the second objective, and we'll see if it can destroy it in the shooting phase. Turn 5 shooting phase. The Rotor Cannons did a really good job, rolled a 5 on their run move, and are within a head's breadth of that second objective. Last up, the Mortis is raising both carries at the enemy objective, so we have 12 shots hitting on 2s. That is 2 misses, that's fairly standard, that's absolutely fine. So now we need 5s to glance and 6s to pen. Oh, there we go, that's a good roll. So that is 2 glances and 2 pens, however that's 4 invulnerable saves.
Big moment here, can that Rad Scrubber withstand the firepower from that carries? That is a big fat no, it can't.
That's all there is. There's no combat in turn 5. So we are rolling for variable. 1 or 2, the game ends here, and it is incredibly tight. Let's see what we've got. And that is a 2. So the game ends, and we'll have to tot up the victory points and see who has won.
The radiation levels within that complex are rising as 2 of those Rad Scrubbers were deleted by some fantastic play there from Thousand Suns.
I think, despite almost everything we tried to throw at it, though, that was the most up and down game I've played in a long while. I think that was absolutely crazy. I think both our behalves, we had some amazing and some terrible dice rolls on both sides.
It was bonkers. And we're going to talk about the game a little bit more. Let's do the victory points because we can then explain all that happened. So we'll start with the Iron Hands. We got Warlord. We managed to have 1 Rad Scrubber surviving at the end of the turn. And we got First Blood.
Yep.
3 to the Iron Hands. However,
the Thousand Suns, we scored Warlord.
Yes.
And destroyed 2 Rad Scrubbers.
So by my finger maths,
I think we can just about manage that sort of maths.
That is an absolute draw. What a thrilling game.
That was amazing. That was so intense. I mean, I think that was worth being in this sweltering room. You guys don't see over there, but this is
It's hot.
It's a warm room, small little warm room, but it's so much fun. That was absolutely great.
Yeah, the problem is in the afternoon, the sun, this is south facing where this wall is. There's a massive window here, which obviously you guys can't see. And we're in a black room and the sun comes in and we are sweating. Anyway, Boris, your Contemptor, I think, is man of the match.
I think so. The just Contemptor Mortis, just 12 carry shots a turn is just fantastic. BS5. Yeah, he got 2 objectives, although he failed to kill one of them with an entire round of shooting. But hey, did some damage to mortals and managed to survive. Shrugged off some melter hits, which was just great. I was worried he was going to lose him real early, and then everything else was going to kind of bounce off the mortals. But managed and then managed to just snipe that Contemptor. Well, actually, he did 2 whole points to Contemptor. He did the first one and the third one.
Yeah, shooting that one in the back was genius.
And
that kept the rotor cannons alive. I thought the Contemptor was going to barrel into those rotor cannons, but it never happened.
We got lucky.
It was so cool. There was one thing which you mentioned that we didn't mention on camera. It was a psychic test. Or Perils of the
just
Warp?
when the Sekhmet suffered a wound from Perils of the Warp, the entire Thousand Suns army has to take a pinning check, flesh change, scariness. We passed, and they were fine off camera. But just in case anyone wants to catch us up on that, I do know my Legion rules fairly well, just sort of.
This is good. One thing I will say is 30k channel dice are available on the website, and they proved amazing, didn't they? Holy hell!
I'm not sure how many Breach of Shield and then Feel No Pain saves you made, but I think I can't remember. You're probably approaching nearly 100 rotor cannon shots out of the length of that entire game, and I don't think they did. They might have done 1 casualty, but very little, and they're usually really effective. But that Inviolate armor with Feel No Pain,
toughness 5,
just fantastic. They're just a great unit. But definitely buy some channel dice because they are amazing for 5s and 6s. Maybe don't use them for leadership checks.
No,
but everything else, highly recommend.
They are Chessex as well, so they are real quality dice with the channel logo etched into the 6, and it's a great prospect if you want to support the channel for some dice. So if you do, thank you very much. I've sold a ton in the last week, so there's a few left. One thing we need to talk about as well, we got a double KO right in the centre of the board.
That was excellent, super fun. I think that Sekhmet unit on paper should have been amazing, and they just bounced off that Immortal squad. Yeah, Ortec Moore is amazing, and you get Hatred and Preferred Enemy, but their psychic phase was continuously rubbish. The Delegatus survived pretty well thanks to Precognition, but I think it's one of the most broken powers in the game, to be frank. It's not a great one, but it made him stay alive and actually kill Ortec Moore, which meant we got a really close game, because I think if it wasn't for that, it would have just been a pretty big walkover. It was quick.
It was looking really grim early on, wasn't it?
I think so.
Those Immortals are incredibly difficult to shift, and it proves the fact because we've still got the majority of the 2 squads left. So really tough to get through. But in the end, Boris, we say this every time on the channel: if you play to the mission, you're all right.
I think so. I think the thing that made it a draw and not a complete loss was the fact that you seemed to lose sight of 2 of the. Twice, I think I moved the Mortis to go and get an objective, and you kind of realised, whoops, there they're there. But yeah, I think that was the only thing that saved it for me. I don't think I'd played particularly amazingly tactically, but yeah, I think playing the objective apparently it's how you win games or draw.
Yeah, apparently. Final thing to say, and I say this every game, I think this is my favourite board build since ever. This, for me, is the pinnacle of what the channel's about.
It's so cool, and it tells a story. The Mechanicum kind of up to lots of busy things, but it doesn't look too eclectic. It was so much fun to fight in. I think double height Zone Mortalis just looks really impactful compared to the single tier. Single tier looks amazing, but when you've got a big long 6x4 or 4x4, it can look quite samey. But yeah, double height just looks excellent. It makes the sort of terrain around it look quite suited.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. When you get Contemptors, they're obviously taller than the wall sections. So when you get a shot down, you get the head of a Contemptor over a wall, which shouldn't really happen because these are massive cavernous spaces within a complex or a spaceship, whatever. And when you've got the crane and the generator, they feel they're in this massive room with a double height. So yeah, it really works. But this is literally every single piece I had. So I was a bit worried I might run out, but there's a few bits left over. So really pleased with that. And I really hope you enjoyed it as well. I'm going to stop waffling because I'm sweating. I need a drink.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you so much for a game.
No, that was amazing. Thank you.
I really hope you've enjoyed it. You can follow the channel. It's at Thilico Channel on Instagram.
I'm Pack_Paints on Instagram.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you very soon.